better way. I tried this, it worked real well. Put this at the top of the list. Until you evaluated history where you can read the energy that tells you a message, just strips off all of the entropy that gets you right back to where the message came from in order to solve the problem. All right. Now you're talking about Donald J, and you referencing his son, and you just said the guy in the movie got a twin. Right? You know, Donald J is a Gemini, right?
Go ahead. Damn, I didn't know that.
Gemini, look him up. Look up, pull another tab up and put in his birthday. Make sure you're Gemini before I go any further.
Yeah, I got you. Oh yeah, this is gonna be good. This gonna get good.
You hear the key word, so I had to stop you. So while you looking at that, the Gemini is the zodiac sign that represent the primordial dual births that the women had at first before the moon was there. Like, we know that a dog got multiple nipples for a reason, because she had litters. We know that an elephant only got 2 teats because she normally only give birth to 1, but she used to give birth to 2. A big litter for an elephant is twins or triplets. All right, so the sign of Gemini is a representation of a twin or a kindred spirit. So when we're talking about Gemini, you also got what we call Operation Gemini. You know what that is?
No, go ahead.
Remember when they dropped them 2 bombs in Japan, right?
Okay.
Then they turned around and flew 2 planes on 9/11 and told us it was more. It was only 2 planes, but the 2 planes was drones the whole fucking time.
Right.
Now,
yeah, that's right. Go ahead.
You're talking about a movie I haven't seen, but you're giving me the premise that they have a machine that can take control of all of the AI.
Go ahead.
Remember the movie Fallen with Denzel Washington?
Go Fallen.
Every time
I've seen every Denzel movie. I'm telling you.
Every time somebody touched the person that's possessed, the spirit jumped body to body.
Okay.
All right. The Locks did a song, had Eve, DMX, and the Locks on it. And it was based on the premise of the movie, and it was called, I think it was called The Final 24 or something like that. 24 Hours to Live or something like that. So they putting the emphasis on soul jumping. That's what they call it. Soul jumping, the science of the walk-in. Now, recently, I ran across somebody explaining that the walk-in can come in as a gas through your pores. Right? So if he can go in through your pores, that means that the spirit being is a gas form being that can take control of any vessel that's not self-conscious, AI.
Go ahead.
Okay? So Operation Gemini is anytime they do 2 things that look the same on 2 different sides of the water, it's called a Gemini operation.
Go ahead. I'll feel you.
Okay, now, if you remember, after 9/11, what happened in Europe? Train bombings, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it went from planes crashing into buildings to the buildings where the trains go being bombed. This all stage shit.
Go ahead.
It don't mean people didn't get hurt. It don't mean people didn't die. It just means that to steer the narrative, they don't give a fuck about none of them people that got hurt and none of the people that died and fuck their family too.
Go ahead.
Okay, now, June 14th. That's Gemini.
That's right.
Right now,
yeah.
remember, Donald J. supposed to be a time traveler.
Go ahead.
His uncle was supposed to get Tesla technology to allow him to see the past and the future. The CIA got a counterpart called Operation Looking Glass. Right? Under Operation Looking Glass, they do what they call scenario assessment.
Go ahead.
They kept running into one problem. Every scenario they put in, they kept saying that there's some motherfucking little nappy head boy coming out of the States that's finna change everything.
Yeah.
They didn't like that answer. Because J. Edgar Hoover already told them they was going to stop the rise of any potential messiah who could incite the masses. Right? So he already told them that. So now they telling them that no matter what, come 2019, this motherfucker closing all these contracts. The grand finale of the morals and dogma is the Zionist war in Palestine. What do that got to do with what we talk about, Elder? I bet you can't figure it out. You got a clue?
No, I don't got no clue.
Okay. The people that's bankrolling all this is called Zionists, right?
Yeah.
Zion comes from the word Sion, which is another name for the mountain called Sinai.
Okay.
Look up the spelling of that word because it's going to tell you that the sin is AI. Pull the word up. S-I-N-A-I, Sinai. It's going to tell you it's a mountain in Jerusalem. See where it says Sinai Peninsula? That's all talking about Israel. Click on that.
Like click on this right here, please, right here?
Yeah, click on that.
I got you.
Read that little description of the Sinai Peninsula right there.
Egypt Sinai Peninsula is separate population desert region between the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea on the southern tip. Sharm El Resort is a base for diving and snorkeling around the reef of Ra Muhammad National Park. Inland 6th Century Street, Catherine Monastery is nearby biblical Mount Sinai, where
there you go. Right there. Biblical Mount what?
Sinai.
Okay, now the Mount Sinai mean two different things to do two different groups of people.
Okay.
For the so-called Jew, the Khazarians, that's their opportunity to be able to own land that they never was allowed to own on Earth. Okay, now my question that stops me right there is why these motherfuckers supposed to be earthborn with no land?
Go ahead.
Everybody on Earth is organically tied to a mass of land. Everybody. But these people, they don't got no homeland. This is a problem for the earthborn because we made sure in past generations that everybody had a place, the final destination that they bloodline call home. The earth was divided, the whole planet, in 12 regions. Them was the 12 daughters of Isis. And in the middle, what we call the navel of the earth, which is where modern day Kemet is, the Yoni is in South Africa, right? You can look all the chakras of the earth up. But the key is the navel, right? That's where the umbilical cord is attached to. That's because that's where the offset seat was prior to Rome's establishment.
Go ahead.
All right, so what they doing is playing with us and they dangling shit in front of our face we not never supposed to see. AI is the sin. What is artificial intelligence? It's laboratory made organic matter.
Go ahead.
Laboratory made organic matter. There's a side effect that comes with that.
Go ahead.
Anything that you make that's organic and you make it on a planet, it is now native to that planet.
Go ahead.
The creator is responsible for anything he creates. If you create something that's going to cause mischief and bloodshed, then what you just created is called devil. It becomes an automatic enemy to all things living. Now, there got to be a way to fix the problem of the artificial intelligence that's sentient but doesn't have the capacity or the rights of ascension.
Mm-hmm.
This was the conversation between Enlil and Enki. And Enki was saying that he gonna make these motherfuckers, well, one day they gonna wake up and they gonna be able to ascend just like everybody else. Enlil didn't like that. He wanted to perpetually keep them in service. This is why they had a war in so-called heaven. How in the fuck you got obedient angels and all of a sudden they just decided to go to war? That don't even make sense. Right? But when you put the human element in it and realize that all these people we talking about is just advanced species of human that's thousands of years older than the species of the earth, they come in with an automatic advantage. Mm-hmm. Longer memory, right? Clearer memory of current events that played out in past scenarios to translate it for the people. Mm-hmm. Now, while we looking at the Zionists, they really don't got a home because they was created in the laboratory. And the creator of them did it under duress. In law, there is something called the duress defense. Mm-hmm. If I come kidnap your child and say, young elder, if you don't rob that bank, I'm going to kill your child, and you rob that bank, and then I get caught, they can't charge you with shit. I'm going to get the robbery. I'm going to get the coercion, the accessory before, the accessory after, the accessory to it. So they going to load me up with shit they going to charge me with, but you going to walk. Because under normal circumstances, all things being unaffected by me, you would never rob the bank. Mm-hmm. It's called the duress defense. Now, in contract law, there is a different defense. It's called the abandonment defense. As soon as you find out the fraud is in play, you are obligated at that point to abandon the known fraud. Mm-hmm. Now, if it come to light that you was aware of the fraud, you participated and benefited from the fraud, you are now accessory to the totality of the fraud. You ain't killed nobody, but all of the bodies that the fraudsters collected, you part of that the murders too. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right? So the only remedy upon the discovery of the fraud is to abandon the contract. This is what we're talking about right now, about the people from this land dropping the system. It's a fraudulent system. It's predicated upon a constructed fraud. And not only that, if you don't abandon the contract, you now become party to the fraud.
Hey, so the next thing ties in that comes up is they use this girl, this redhead. I don't know if she like a redhead or whatever. They use this girl right here. It was her son. And they always use when they alchemy, because we're dealing with Hollywood, right? We're dealing with magical wands, we're dealing with casting, with spells, right? So we know we're dealing with actors and acts. We know we're dealing with alchemy, so we know they got to show us the conjure in our face in order for it to be, because that's one of the parts of their alchemy is called hidden in plain sight. So they got to show us right in our face what they're doing to us. And if we don't see it, it's like it's on you. You perish for the lack of knowledge, right? So
yeah, you're right.
They use this chick right here and her son. They was gonna blow the trumpet, right? Blow the trumpet at the State of the Union or the Congressional Congress, where they was all meeting up, all the officials, the president, everybody. And they had put explosives in this trumpet to blow. But before it leads up to that point, before it gets up to that point, these people are being called by AI, telling them, and now as you pointed the cyanide part out, I can see another connection with the black hand, right? Working this shit. Hey, tell me. So yeah, but this part right here, what the computer is calling them and telling them and giving them orders on how to elude the police and everything, man. This type of
That's the Matrix. That's Morpheus calling from the inside of the Matrix to the ones on the outside of the Matrix using the system.
Yeah.
It's just a reverse scenario right now. Now it might change as you tell me more about the story.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this computer, which, like I say, this is a part of the computer to give you just a quick synopsis so you can see, not without telling you the whole movie. These little globes in here is like all the info collected on all the people in the United States and in other parts of the world.
Okay, now pull up another tab. And we about to do comparative analysis with the Matrix.
All right, go ahead.
Type in Matrix, the architect TV room.
Yeah, I know you're going with this. No, you're going with this right here. It's another deep part to this too. I'm glad you brought this up.
And you see, right, Neo is standing in there with all of those different scenarios of Neo converge where Neo at. But if you look behind the architect, it's all kind of people. Okay, click the first picture and look. It's different scenes from different places.
Yeah.
You see the different scenes?
Yeah.
Now remember, he got all of those screens. Now click the second picture. Now this is him and Neo standing in front of all of them screens. They all got something different on them. But at some point in the scene, they converge. Every single screen. Click that third picture right there. It's all Neo. Neo is an anagram for one, but it's also an anagram for eon.
Go ahead.
The eon is the age. In this scene, the architect of the Matrix is explaining to Neo the design and the makeup of the Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they make the Matrix the way they made the Matrix with suffering? The same. Now, not only is the architect telling him the story, Morpheus already told him, and the agents already told him. So at this point, all eyes on Neo. Everybody that was once looking out to the world is now looking into the architect's chamber at Neo, talking to the architects in order to change the Matrix. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And this, ain't it ironic that the architect looked just like Colonel Sanders? I'm just saying. I ain't the one to talk. You ain't heard it from me.
And anytime you see some guy with that white hair, it's always something weird. Tell me, man.
Supposed to be Melchizedek.
Yeah, right. He said they try to say that he God. He designed, he God, and he designed this, paradigm.
Look, so now we go into the types of gods, because you don't just have it ain't one kind of God.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Prime creator is all of the gods rolled into one.
Okay, go ahead.
The individual guide is just an aspect of Big Mama, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got creator guides, them ones who work the mandala, and those who whisper the chants, and those who play the drums or the instruments, right? They altering the frequency, and the frequency and the pitch is what determines what the visual cortex will perceive, right? Now, let's get to the little boy.
Hey, before you get to the little boy, because I got to give you the other pieces. So when you get to the little
Okay,
boy,
let's
you
go.
can say, "Oh, okay, all right."
Let's go.
So you got the twin shit down. All right, so like, and you got this part down, and you made a connection with the matrix, saying with these different things. Okay, so what this computer was to do is, and I know for a fact that this computer exists in real life, cause I know a girl I used to date a long time ago. Her sister worked on this computer. She got a doctor's degree from Maryland University.